All right, so everyone watching this, you guys know that I have been working with the financial department, and half the language that I've been hearing just does not make sense to me. And I have a good buddy here. Again, we are not going to reveal rank and all that other stuff due to OPSEC. However, we will call him Nate. Today, he is going to talk about his AFSC, and his AFSC is actually financial management. And again, we'll go through everything that he's been through, and we'll go from there. But what's good on my day ones? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for watching. Here are the questions we're going to ask him today. So first things first, Nate, please tell us about your Air Force background, how you got in. Was it OTS, ROTC Academy, and what did you major in to get you to where you need to be?
Yeah, so again, first off, Jen, thanks for having me on your channel. I really appreciate the opportunity to share my insights with everyone. So just appreciate that. So
absolutely.
I commissioned through ROTC through Purdue. If you're not quite sure what ROTC is really a way to join the military through college. And I'm very biased, obviously, but I'm a huge advocate for ROTC for a few reasons. One is that it allows you to kind of get a flavor for what the military lifestyle or just the military as a whole, what it'll be like without committing right off the bat. You are able to get a scholarship through ROTC, either right when you are a freshman or as you go throughout your program. So for myself, I actually didn't get a scholarship right away, but about midway through my sophomore year, I did receive a scholarship, and it paid for my it paid for the rest of my college from sophomore to senior year. So it's a great opportunity, one, to pay for college, but also just to, if you have a thought of the military, it's a great way to kind of try it out without having to commit. You really don't have to commit until either A, you're on scholarship, or B, you go to what's called field training. And once you successfully complete field training, that's when you sign on the dotted line and you are committed at that point. But even if you're on scholarship, that freshman year, if you were to do 1 year and then just decide it's not for you, you would be able to get out, no harm, no foul at that point. And maybe I've been in about 5 years, so maybe there's some differences between now and then, but broadly speaking, that's how it works. But for me, it was love at first sight, and I was very fortunate to get a scholarship. But if I didn't like it after a year or two, I could easily get out and then just go on my normal degree. But my degree is in economics, my undergrad. So with me being in finance, it was a very easy slot for myself and for the Air Force to put me into financial management.
Absolutely. Your daily, I wouldn't say daily, but like overall job spectrum, like what are the things that you kind of do like on the admin side for anyone who wants to go into like financial management?
Sure. So there's two different big sides of finance. One's on the acquisition side, and then one's at the base level. So actually when I first started, I was on the acquisition side. And as a financial officer, the acquisition side is really your chance to get your technical expertise. So I was running an actual budget for a program, and I was doing everything from purchasing to it's called MEPR, military interdepartmental purchase requests, where the Air Force will buy Navy assets or vice versa. But you're really running that program, whatever that program is. Even as a second lieutenant, you're not as much leading at that point. You're more of developing yourself and your technical expertise. I am now on the base operations side of it, and that's more of getting your leadership. So I'm a flight commander for a financial military flight, FMF currently. Nice. And really that's, again, where you get that leadership aspect, and totally different role where I'm over a flight of about 12 enlisted folks, and they are the technical experts. I have not done that side of Air Force finance, and it's a critical job because it's paying everyone. Absolutely. So I very heavily rely on their expertise, and my role in that is just one, making sure they have what they need for their career or for their job, but guiding the mission forward.
So that's actually pretty interesting because when I interviewed Charles, and you'll see in the past videos I have a video specifically with one of our flight mates. His name is Charles.
So he's a program manager.
There you go, program manager, but he also deals with acquisitions and logistics. It's just interesting to see how everything kind of like shakes hands, and you kind of start to see that at the operational level. And what he was referring to is like, at the tactical level, that's where you kind of refine a lot of your skills, and you get good at your job primarily, or whatever it is that you're doing at the time. And then from as soon as you start to rank up, and then you get to the senior captain level, that's when they decide to send you to like a course right now, Squadron Officer School, which we're at, and they teach you more of the operational side of things. So he has a very important job. Otherwise, people like me and people under him and just basically at the wing level don't get paid. Do you plan on staying in the Air Force? And if so, what are your goals and whatnot? Because for me, like I plan on staying, my goal right now is for 10. And as he mentioned earlier, ROTC shows him that, but luckily, I grew up a military brat, so I knew what to expect. But for him, it might be different because like he's got a family now. I don't have kids yet. He's got one on the way.
So my goal is certainly still 20 years, as it was when I first got into the Air Force. However, how I wanted to structure those 20 years has certainly changed. As Jen mentioned, I am married and have a little baby girl on the way early next year. So that definitely shifts my frame of mind over how I want to structure my career. One good thing about finance is that you're able to go to literally everywhere. Every finance or every Air Force base and Space Force base utilizes Air Force finance personnel. If you're looking for a career where you can go anywhere and do a lot of traveling, finance is definitely a good option for you. My wife is from Ohio, so being able, and she's very close to her family, and I'm from the Midwest as well in Indiana, so any opportunity to be closer to family is definitely what we strive to do now. So when I first got in, being able to travel and go OCONUS or overseas was very important and desirable to me, but as of right now, it's less important, and just trying to find that right family life balance where I could still do the 20 years, but also be able to be as close to family as possible.
And the dynamics certainly do change over time. Like, I'm married to, one day I'm going to have a kid, so those are things that you have to ask yourself, like, overall, is like, part of my future, where do I want to be, let's say 4 years from now, because the military has 4-year contracts, and with the current status of the military, Air Force specifically, they've changed a lot of our time on station for us to PCS, and that's just because of the whole budgetary constraints with the government. But besides that, what has the Air Force done for your career? Let's say, for example, you get out 20 years later. Like, what could it do for you? I mean, not even in the future. Maybe like now you get out. Like, what has it done for your specific career? Because I know financial is a very different ballgame. For nursing, it's very uphill, plateau. But like for him, it might be very different because financial world is chaotic. It's nonstop. You deal with numbers all the time.
So I'm going to answer this actually in two ways. One is what the Air Force is doing currently in my current role, and then how it can help me outside too. So in the current role, kind of going back to me believing finance is a good spot for someone that wants to travel around. No one cares more about your career than you do. If you get in, have a good mentor or really mentors you can talk to, you really have more say in your career than what you might initially think about. For instance, I'm trying to get back to Right Pat. That's where I started at, and again, that's where I met my wife. And I think I do have a pretty good opportunity here coming up. And one of those ways is through a program called Education Within Industry. EWI is a shorthand for it. That's good both for me in the Air Force, but also if and when I eventually do get out, rather at 20 years or before. But what that program is specifically is you will partner with certain companies. So there's, I don't know exactly how many, but about 80 or so. And essentially what you do, you'll work with either Coca-Cola, Microsoft, Amazon, or even smaller companies. And the point is, you are integrated in them for about 10 months, and then you leverage everything that they have and what they offer, and then try to bring that back to the Air Force and apply some of those principles back to make the Air Force ultimately better. So there's a couple things. One is it does make the Air Force better. Obviously, that's why the program exists. But it also gives you a good bullet point for a future resume and really helps build your network on the outside. Because I've heard many stories where basically individuals go to EWE at whatever company and pretty much have standing job offers once they leave. That in of itself is a great program. But outside of just that, being in the finance realm and more of the quote unquote corporate Air Force world, it really does set you up well for the outside. Because while government finance is wholly different than business finance, the regulations we follow is different than what a company would follow. But the underlying principles are the same. The fiscal considerations, working under a budget, leading people, those are all things that will translate very easily from the Air Force finance world to more of a corporate setting.
And as you're seeing throughout a lot of these interviews that I always do, there's always a revolving theme of management. And the fact that should he get out, and I know his plan is 20, should he get out at that point down 20 years down the line, he won't have like chump change jobs. It'll be jobs that are at like the corporate level. And that's what they literally do prepare you for, because by the time you get to a certain rank, they have high expectations of you to be able to run programs, lead people, and practically do things that make you uncomfortable just to break those boundaries of discomfort. And I think that's the beautiful thing is he speaks a certain language that I don't speak. He is very adaptable to certain predicaments that even I won't be able to do. Like as he mentioned is, in the corporate world, should he do like that EWE program, it sets him up for life. Like he'll always have a job, and just understanding money is an asset itself, because he knows that with budgetary constraints you have to work with what you have, and how do you make something work with limited resources. So Nate, give them something motivational.
Yeah, so the business advice that I certainly heard before coming into the military, and definitely heard while in the military, is that with finance being we're a very small career field, but again, I mentioned that we can go anywhere. Some of those bases are the less desirable bases, but I've always heard, and I hold to be true, is to bloom where planted. And I've heard a lot of individuals who get a less desirable base for whatever reason, and it ultimately it is a highlight of their career, because a lot of times those bases, and you'll probably think of them in your head, that people don't want to go to, typically have a great culture around them. So the big thing is just to bloom where planted, and even if you don't get that location you want or the exact job that you want, how you perform in that job definitely sets you up either in a good way or in a bad way for your future opportunities, either job related or even what base or program or additional schools you can get. So don't think, I'm going to a base I don't want, I'm not going to put forth my best effort. That's not how you should operate at all. Always put forth your best effort. And my previous squadron commander had a saying that every day is a job interview. If you have that mindset that you're always being evaluated, especially as a leader, it definitely helps set your presence and set your tone for yourself and for the rest of the team. And
to add on to his spiel is that, you do definitely want to grow where you're planted. I am at probably the least desirable MTF, and for those who know where I'm at, you guys know where I'm at, but I'm not going to disclose that here. But I'm at one of the MTFs that no Air Force wants to go to. However, the caveat there is I've been provided opportunity where other Air Force bases I would never get. And that's just because of the the structure of the facility and also just the admin. And being able to do what I'm doing right now, I would not be doing at another air base. And by the time I go to a next air base, I'll be the bigger fish in a smaller pond, which allows me to operate at a higher functioning than the rest. And that's not to down anyone else, it's just despite being in a place that I don't want to be, it's preparing me for the harder stuff, which essentially will be a lot easier compared to those who are doing it, like, you know, having a harder time. I hope you get that analogy. But besides that, thank you, Nate. I appreciate your time.
Of course.
And I hope that this video reaches out to whoever decides to go into the Air Force, whether it be through ROTC, through direct commissioning, and through the through the academy. So hope we run into you guys. If you guys ever need anything, reach out to me. Besides that, you guys take care. Thanks again for watching, and I hope this helps at least one person. If we did help one person, then we've done our job. All right, bye. Thank you, dude. Appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem.